My name is Tristan. From the outside, I was just another worthless thug. I spent my days fighting, convinced that brute strength was everything. One day, though, I found myself stepping into the world of the gang. Maybe it was because I was always brawling, but I had confidence in my strength. Because of that, even as a low-ranking grunt, I was always at the front during conflicts. During one such conflict, my boss, who was also my parent, Mr. Abbott, was kidnapped by a rival gang group. Something most people would never even consider doing, but I stormed into the rival group's office armed with just a bat. By some miracle, I managed to rescue Mr. Abbott. But that same act got me arrested. Eventually, I was sent to prison, where I spent 10 long years. During that time, my story became legendary, passed down like a myth. I wouldn't learn about that until much later. Then 10 years later. It's been a long time. 10 years passed already, huh? The world's probably changed a lot by now. Having sacrificed everything for the sake of the group, I was finally released. Not even once during those 10 years had the police allowed me any visitors. Because of that, there wasn't a single person waiting for me when I stepped outside. What the hell? After risking my life, this is all I get? But I don't really have anywhere else to go. I thought about it a lot, but with no other place to turn to, I headed toward where the office used to be. Things sure have changed. Maybe being in a gang is outdated now. The area in front of the office was completely deserted, with an empty, lifeless atmosphere. I climbed the stairs of the old building and grabbed the doorknob of the office door. Voices came from inside. Feeling a little excited to see someone I knew after so long, I opened the door. Hurry it up already. Stop dragging your feet. I'm sorry. I'll get it done quickly. I told you to hurry up, didn't I? You too, damn it. Inside the office was a man who looked every bit the gang type and two subordinates who seemed like his lackeys. Excuse me, is this the gang group's office? Who are you? I belong to this group. Is Mr. Abbott here? They looked at each other with confused expressions. What are you talking about, old man? We don't know you. Like we'd let someone like you meet Mr. Abbott. Is there any way you can make an exception? I have a reason I need to meet him. No way. Absolutely not. They seemed annoyed as they tried to shove me out of the room. This is the only place I have. Or is there some reason why I can't meet him? Listen, I'm Walter, the underboss candidate of this group. If I say no, then it's a no. I see. Could you at least tell me where Mr. Abbott is? You're getting on my nerves. Do you want to die? Walter's lackeys grabbed me by the collar. My instincts almost made me lash out, but as a grunt, I couldn't oppose someone as high-ranking as an underboss candidate. As one of the lowest-ranking people in the group, I couldn't stand up against him. All I could do was plead desperately. Please, let me stay here. I'll do anything. Anything? I have nothing but this group. Walter and his men thought it over for a moment. I thought my desperation must have gotten through to him. All right then, starting today, you're my lackey. If I think you're trustworthy, I'll let you meet him. Really? When? Mr. Abbott isn't around right now, he's in some meeting with another group. But, will you really let me meet him? Are you questioning what an underboss candidate says? In the gang world, defying someone higher up was unthinkable. So, I had no choice but to do as Walter said and become his lackey. Hey! I'm hungry, so go buy me something. Get me some cigarettes, too. And grab some drinks while you're at it. What about money? What? You think I'm gonna give you money? Buy it yourself. I don't have any money either. I just got out of prison. Wait, you were in prison? Yeah, as a hitman. And now you're just some washed-up old man? Your life's over, huh? That's why I need money. Walter threw some loose change in my face. The coins were hard, and my face was left scratched and bleeding. From then on, I was treated like their errand boy every single day. Honestly, they felt more like street punks than actual gang, but I couldn't say that aloud. I just kept my head down and obeyed. Man, it's getting boring with just us guys around. Hey, Tristan. Yes? What is it? We're going drinking. You're coming too. Are you sure I can come? Yeah, your pathetic stories make great entertainment. A washed-up old man's life is nothing but hilarious. Laughing loudly, Walter led me and the others to a nearby nightclub. Once inside, Walter arrogantly took a seat in the VIP section, sprawling on the sofa. His two lackeys sat down beside him. I tried to sit down as well. Hey, Tristan. Who said you could sit down? Know your place, trash. Walter grabbed a glass from the table and smashed it against my head. Blood poured from the wound, staining the floor. What are you doing? Clean it up, trash. The three of them laughed hysterically, watching me wipe up my own blood. Soon, a group of beautiful women joined their table, and the rowdy party began. Hey! Why don't you come with me tonight? Walter, clearly drunk, started trying to drag an unwilling woman along with him. Throughout the night, only the three of them seemed to have fun, while the women and staff looked visibly miserable. Payment? What, you think I'm paying? I came here on patrol, you should be thanking me. Walter and his group left without paying a dime. Honestly, I thought they were the worst kind of scum, not worthy of being called gang. I started to wonder if Mr. Abbott truly condoned this kind of behavior. I don't feel like going out today. Tristan, bring some women here. I'm not really good at that sort of thing. What? Use my name and get it done. Now go. Left with no choice, I went out into town to look for women, as Walter had ordered. Our underboss, Walter, is asking for you. Would you mind coming with me? No matter how many times I dropped Walter's name, not a single woman paid me any attention. Though I thought women working in nightlife would understand and come along, none of them even glanced my way. Is that guy really an underboss candidate? It had been nearly a month since I became Walter's lackey. There were no signs of me being allowed to meet Mr. Abbott, and I spent my days in the Baron office doing nothing. Finally, I decided to confront Walter. Walter, when exactly am I going to meet Mr. Abbott? Mr. Abbott is out right now. I don't know when he'll be back. But leaving the office unattended for a month is pretty unusual, isn't it? Shut up. Don't talk like you know everything, punk. Walter punched me hard in the face. For a moment, I almost fought back but managed to hold myself in check. What's with that rebellious look in your eyes? Looks like I need to teach you a lesson. Walter and his lackeys, treating me like a punching bag, hit me as much as they wanted. Man, this is getting boring. From now on, when I'm stressed, you'll be my punching bag too. I'd rather not. Shut up and do what you're told. The only answer is yes, got it? From then on, I wasn't just their errand boy, I became their personal punching bag. Every day, I was beaten and forced to do all their dirty work. Worried about how long this would continue, I was once again near a nightclub, searching for women to entertain Walter. Hey, my guy is calling for you. Come along? Since polite words weren't working, I tried forcing a woman to come with me. Just then, a man in a suit approached me from the back. Hey! What do you think you're doing to women on our turf? Your turf? Like I care. I tried to ignore him and leave the scene. But the man who had called out to me kicked me from behind. What the hell? I'll beat the crap out of you. I grabbed the man, threw him to the ground, and pinned him, punching him repeatedly. To be honest, part of me was venting my anger at being used by Walter and his lackeys. Do you even know who I am? Like I care. You're the one who started this. Damn it! He kept trying to fight back, but as someone experienced in brawling, I easily overpowered him. Feeling it was pointless to continue beating someone weaker, I stopped. Wait a second. Tristan, is that you? Who the hell are you? It's me, Simon. I used to be your lackey. Don't tell me you've forgotten. But wait, why are you here? The man speaking to me was Simon, someone I had taken under my wing before I went to prison 10 years ago. Back then, he wore flashy, shabby clothes and looked weak, the complete opposite of the suited man in front of me. What are you doing here? I'm an executive gang member now. You? An executiver? You used to be so scrawny. Well, 10 years can change a lot, right? Getting out of prison and finding this is probably the most shocking thing so far. Speaking of which, I need to tell you something now that we've finally met. Simon started speaking with a guilty look on his face. I think I messed up the day I was supposed to pick you up. When I went to the prison the day after, you were already gone. And I didn't know what to do. So, the reason no one came to get me was because you screwed up? Yeah. I'm really sorry. Though irritated, I calmed myself and asked him, do you know someone named Walter, since you're an executive? Walter? Some big shot? Not really. When no one came to pick me up, I went to the office and met this guy claiming to be the underboss candidate named Walter. I've been working for him since. There's no such thing as an underboss candidate. If you mean Walter. You know him? Yeah, there's a guy named Walter who recently joined under me. He's been tasked with cleaning at the old office. The old office? That's right. While you were in prison, we relocated the office. So, the Walter at the old office is just your new recruit? Probably. Realizing that I had been humiliated by a rookie, I couldn't stay calm. Noticing my reaction, Simon cautiously asked what had happened. I told him everything, my story from the time I was released from prison up until now. I also explained how I was being treated and what kind of attitude Walter had been showing toward me. I can't believe that's what's been happening. I swear, one day I might just kill that guy. Please, handle this peacefully. The cops have been keeping a close eye since your incident. Simon's face tensed up. Then, trembling slightly, he began to explain. Actually, when we relocated the office, the cops raided the old one. We hid some dangerous stuff in a secret compartment there. And that's why we left a young recruit stationed there. So, I just happened to stumble into that mess by bad luck? I didn't know what was happening. I'm sorry. Make sure to keep a close watch on your recruits. I'll be more careful from now on. And what am I supposed to do about this rage I'm feeling? I'll drag him here myself and deal with him if you want. No, I'll handle it. Just beating him up won't straighten them out. Then what will you do? What's the current situation with the executives? If you're one, most of them are probably around your level, right? All the executives know you, Tristan. They were all there during the conflict 10 years ago. So, if I show up, they'll recognize me immediately? Exactly. I decided to call the executives to the office and reveal my identity in front of Walter and his lackeys. Keep my identity a secret from them for now. Bring all the executives who know me to the office soon. Got it. Let's plan for next week. Tell Walter and the others that they're coming to inspect the cleaning or something. That's all you need? Once they figure out who I am, they'll probably be groveling. I hope so. But if they apologize, will you forgive them? Depends on how they apologize. Simon seemed a little confused but trusted my words and didn't argue further. Afterward, I brought back a woman Simon had introduced to me and returned to the office as if nothing had happened. 3 days later, while I was staying at the office as usual, I overheard Walter on the phone, bowing and scraping despite the call being remote. Yes. Yes. Understood. What's up so early in the morning? Listen up, guys. Make sure to clean the place thoroughly. Simon and his team will be visiting the office in 5 days. I played dumb. Will Mr. Abbott be coming as well? I don't care. Don't you understand that you're not ready to meet Mr. Abbott yet? No, I'm here specifically to meet Mr. Abbott. Don't get cocky. We're under a lot of pressure here. Normally, defying them like this would lead to violence, but Walter, seeming genuinely flustered, silently continued cleaning. Is this Simon guy really that scary? Simon is our direct superior, one of the executives. He was once the lackey of that legendary gang member. Legendary gang member? You don't know? Weren't you around back then? Everyone here knows about him. Sorry, I've forgotten a lot about the past. Walter's underling began speaking confidently, as if it was his own accomplishment. Listen up. The legendary gang member was part of our group. He was incredibly strong and highly respected. And then? One day, when Mr. Abbott was kidnapped, he rescued him with just a bat. He's a real legend. At that moment, I realized they were talking about me. I heard he's in prison now, but you might get to meet him someday, the underling continued. Really? Since Simon, a direct associate of that legend, is coming, we can't afford to mess this up. We have to get everything perfect. Normally, these guys were far from diligent, but this time, they were almost disturbingly serious about their work. However, their attitude and treatment toward me didn't change at all. I was still treated as their errand boy, constantly being ordered to buy something or other. On top of that, their arrogant behavior toward honest businesses remained unchanged. These issues needed to be addressed at the root. With that in mind, I decided to take action. Excuse me. Has this Walter guy, the gang member, ever actually paid for anything? Every shop I visited told me the same thing. Walter had never paid for anything, leaving me frustrated. Determined, I began asking around about the costs of Walter's unpaid tabs and damages. I took advantage of the time I was sent out on errands to gather this information. The total, largely due to excessive spending at nightclubs, exceeded $100,000. Determined to expose it all, I stuffed the memo into my pocket. After that, my days were consumed by endless cleaning. I was made to scrub every corner, sacrificing even my sleep. Finally, the day of Simon's visit arrived, and the atmosphere in the office was markedly different, filled with palpable tension. Hey, Tristan. Don't say anything unnecessary. Just keep your mouth shut and clean. Got it. Walter and his crew pretended to be cleaning as they waited for Simon and his team to arrive. Soon enough, Simon and his group entered the office. Good morning. Are you all doing your jobs properly? Good morning. Yes, we've been cleaning thoroughly. We're just here to check on some files and other materials today. Understood. We'll stay out of your way. Behind Simon, about 5 executives followed him into the office. It was clear from their behavior that they all ranked lower than Simon, as they spoke to him with great respect. I pulled my cap down low, trying to avoid being noticed by any of the executives. Then, I adjusted it even further to ensure I remained inconspicuous. Simon and his team reviewed the office files and data, discussing matters among themselves. Simon is such a cool guy. Who's cooler, Simon or the legendary gang member? You can't compare. Simon is great, but it's because that legend exists. Walter's crew looked at Simon with admiration in their eyes. After about 30 minutes, Simon and his team seemed to have finished their work. Simon glanced at me, and I gave him a silent nod. Hey, Walter. Who's that guy with the hat? He didn't even greet me. Hey, Tristan. Get over here. The moment my name was called, the executives all turned their heads at once. This guy looks like an old man now, but he came asking to join the group. Oh? I've been letting him work as my lackey. Walter gave a sly grin and grabbed me by the neck, pressing me down onto the floor. Hey! My shoes are dirty, old man. Shine them. Gladly. I began polishing his shoes. Walter, you shouldn't. The executives seemed to realize who I was, their faces turning pale. But Walter only escalated his actions. He pressed his foot on my head. This guy's a rookie, and he's been babbling about wanting to meet Mr. Abbott. As I continued polishing his shoes, Walter suddenly kicked me hard in the face. Hey! Greet them. I immediately stood up, removed my hat, and bowed deeply to the executives and Simon. He really is. The executives, now certain of my identity, collapsed to their knees, while Simon bowed deeply in respect. I would like to meet with Mr. Abbott. Please, raise your head. I'll inform Mr. Abbott right away. What? Walter stared at the scene in disbelief, his expression blank. This guy's just some crazy old man. As soon as Walter said that, Simon turned to him and shouted loudly. Do you have any idea who this gentleman is? This gentleman? This gentleman is the legend who single-handedly saved Mr. Abbott. What? What do you mean? 10 years ago, during a conflict when Mr. Abbott was kidnapped, he stormed in alone and rescued him. That legend is standing right here. There's no way this weak-looking old man is that legend. It's just someone who happens to look like him. Simon and the executives exchanged glances, their expressions clearly saying, "Don't say anything further." Hey! You've really had your way with me, haven't you? Don't get cocky just because you're an old man. Hey, Simon! Can I beat this guy up? He's technically my subordinate, so as long as it's not fatal. You heard him. Even after Simon's response, Walter showed no signs of backing down. Instead, he started laughing. Are you serious? You're really going for it? No way I'm losing to you, to be honest. You'd better stop before it's too late. I won't take responsibility for what happens. Simon, if I beat this old man down, will you officially recognize me and make me an executive or something? Simon scoffed at the suggestion. There's no way you could pull that off. But if you do, I'll follow your orders for life. Don't forget you said that. Walter walked toward me with a grin, stopping right in front of me. Hey, I'll let you throw the first punch. Hit me wherever you want. Are you sure? Don't say I didn't warn you. Shut up. Stop yapping and come at me already. Alright, don't mind if I do. I drove my fist hard into Walter's solar plexus. His body bent forward like a folding chair, and he collapsed to his knees, clutching his stomach. Hey, what happened to all that energy you had just now? What should I do after one punch? Walter trembled, his teeth chattering as he looked up at me. I'm that Tristan. Got it, Mr. Underboss candidate? Yes. I might have gone too far, but I'm boiling with rage right now. You better brace yourself. Please forgive me. Not a chance. I grabbed Walter by his hair and dragged him into the back room. Neither Simon nor the executive stopped me, likely frozen in place by my sheer intensity. Once we were alone in the room, I shoved Walter into a chair. So? You're not planning to apologize and hope for forgiveness now, are you? I'm sorry. I didn't know. It doesn't matter whether you knew or not. Guys like you are the reason our reputation is in the gutter. Yes. If new recruits see someone like you, who's going to take protecting the group seriously? Yes. And this. I pulled a memo out of my pocket. What's this? It's a list of all the money you've skipped out on paying at nightclubs and restaurants. What? I've been asking around while I was running your errands. Since I was out every day, I had plenty of chances to collect the details. Do I have to pay all of this? Listen carefully. As the gang, we must never cause trouble for ordinary people. Not paying your bills is completely unacceptable. I'm sorry. Figure out how to settle this yourself. And don't think this means you're off the hook. I'm about to beat the crap out of you. In the back room, I unleashed everything on Walter, leaving him crying and screaming as I pummeled him. There. Now you're forgiven. But if you mess around again, you know what's coming, right? Yes. I'm sorry. What about Walter's lackeys? You take responsibility and discipline them. Understood. Simon, along with the executives, locked the two lackeys in a room and beat them until no more sounds could be heard. After about 30 minutes, everything went quiet, and everyone emerged from the room. The two lackeys were completely battered and barely conscious. And as for you executives, how is it that none of you realized your underlings were getting out of hand? Yes. Slacking on supervising your subordinates is exactly why this happened. I spent the next hour lecturing the executives on their responsibility. Here's how it's going to work. The debts Walter racked up with civilians will be covered by you seniors. No, It's collective responsibility. This mess happened because none of you kept things in check. Anyone have a problem with that? Not one of them dared to object. They all agreed to split the cost equally. What are you planning to do now? First, I want to properly greet Mr. Abbott. After that, I'll just go with the flow. I headed to the group's real office with Simon. The office had grown enormously, and the number of members had more than doubled. So this is what it's come to. Actually, after you were arrested for that incident, people started flocking in, wanting to be like you. But you forgot about me. I just mixed up the date. I was looking for you in my own way, you know. Ignoring Simon's shouting, I entered the office. The moment I saw Mr. Abbott, tears welled up in my eyes. It must have been from some deep-seated pain I hadn't even acknowledged. After explaining everything that had happened, Mr. Abbott told me his main concern was that the current members lacked proper guidance. As a result, I was suddenly appointed as the underboss to oversee and unify the group. Mr. Abbott also mentioned that he planned to retire soon and intended to pass the leadership to me once I had adjusted to the role, in a few years. 5 years later, I was officially recognized as the boss of the group. Though I had become the boss, I had grown tired of the gang life. The main reason was that I hated being lumped together with people like Walter. Even after returning to the group, I repeatedly told my juniors not to abuse the gang name, but old habits die hard. While many followed my orders because of my reputation as a living legend, there were still plenty who openly defied me. I decided it was time for a change. Hey, Simon, I've got a favor to ask you. What is it? Just say the word. I'm planning to retire as the boss by the end of this year. What? From now on, you'll be running the group. I just want to live a quiet life. I left the group and opened a small coffee shop. Of course, many opposed my decision, but I quit without listening to their protests. The coffee shop is right in front of the group's office. Perhaps because they feel watched, incidents involving the gang have significantly decreased. Now, I run a local coffee shop, known as the tough-looking barista who even silences gang.